In the basement of this unassuming building in Lancaster, Pennsylvania, you'll find what's known as the Underground.
This is the Lancaster Democrats headquarters, has been for a number of years.
A concrete room turned Democratic dungeon, filled with yard signs, briefing packets for volunteers, and campaign literature. Back in March, this space became the new site of a field office for President Joe Biden's re-election bid, located in one of the counties he lost in 2020. Stella Sexton is the local vice chair.
And you cannot win the state of Pennsylvania on Pittsburgh and Philly alone. You really have to hold up your margins everywhere, and that's what we're here to do. Okay.
We tagged along as she headed out to knock doors in nearby Manheim Township, a growing suburban area that Democrats are targeting this cycle.
People who are moving here are from all over the country. A lot of them are from New York, New Jersey, Maryland, areas where they're historically more blue, and we see them showing up and voting that way.
Sexton says she's finding suburban voters who are motivated by protecting abortion rights and keeping former President Donald Trump out of office. We met Eric Daring, who mentioned those two key issues.
Having Trump, former President Trump, back in president, having his hands on the buttons of controls makes me really nervous.
Biden won Pennsylvania in 2020 by just 81,000 votes. So this time around, his campaign is hoping to increase support for him wherever possible. Here in Lancaster County, Biden lost by double digits, so his team is not expecting to flip this area blue, but they do hope he can lose by less here this time around to help his bottom line. Trump flags are visible throughout the county, and in downtown Lancaster, Natasha Collins told us she's no fan of Biden.
Because he's been a president for what, 3 years? I'm guessing he hasn't did anything. I haven't seen nothing done.
It's a challenge Democratic City Council member Jamie Arroyo says the Biden campaign needs to confront.
They've done a lot in our community and are being humble about it, but this year it's important to make sure we're communicating the impact that the administration has had locally.
Team Biden opened 14 offices across Pennsylvania in March alone and says it's working with more than 1,700 volunteers in the Commonwealth. Biden spent 3 days crisscrossing the state recently, marking the 8th time he or Vice President Kamala Harris have made a trip here since January.
From the lakes of Minnesota.
Trump was in Pennsylvania a few weeks ago for a fundraiser outside Philadelphia and to hold one of his traditional rallies in Lehigh County, an area Biden won by 7 points in 2020. County GOP Chair Joe Vachaud points out that these rallies are the campaign's main way of energizing the base.
We don't have an official ground game as of yet. We have the motivation and the grassroots passion for a ground game.
Vachaud says his team will be targeting Black, Hispanic, and younger voters this cycle. And now that Biden has a record to run against, Vachaud is also hoping to win back some suburbanites who told him in 2020 they were turned off by Trump's personality.
It didn't matter if you list, 10, 15 policies that they all liked. They everything that he was doing, as a president, but they weren't willing to vote for him. Well, now they have something to compare it to.
He sees Trump's legal troubles as political attacks that should be worn as a badge of honor and is more concerned about building up a ground game to turn out voters than the fact that Trump is now in court most days for his hush money criminal trial.
We don't need him here again for a while. We just need the team in place to start working on that.
The Trump campaign told Spectrum News it has paid staffers and volunteer-powered field programs in every battleground state, including Pennsylvania, and they are expanding daily.
Scranton's a place that climbs into your heart, and it never leaves.
When Biden visited his boyhood home of Scranton this month, local professor Adam Sprinson says it made sense politically for him to flex his roots.
People are very interconnected here. People remain here for long stretches of time. I think that creating that sense of a community amongst voters to get them engaged and get them out to the polls is going to be super important.
While Biden won Lackawanna County by 9 points in 2020, it's easy to find fans of Trump here who disregard Biden's hometown connection. Professor Sprinson says it's fitting that Pennsylvania is a battleground state, representing many of the political divides and splits seen nationally.
To me, it's eminently appropriate that Pennsylvania, which was the birthplace of American democracy, that in some ways is going to be answering these questions about where we want our democracy to go moving forward.
In Scranton, Taylor Popolars, Spectrum News.
Thanks for watching our YouTube channel. Let Spectrum News be your resource for balanced, in-depth political coverage. And click the subscribe button here. You can also download our app and watch us on TV to learn more about the candidates, where they stand on the issues, and more. We'll see you then.